Want to speak real Urdu from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at urdupod101.com.
In this series, you are going to learn basic Urdu expressions. It's super easy and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to introduce yourself in Urdu. There are only 2 sentences you need to know. Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम अफरा है. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Hi, my name is Afra. Nice to meet you. Start by saying Assalamu alaikum. Then say मेरा नाम, then your name, and then say है. Please repeat after me. Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम, your name, है. Finally, say आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Together we have Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम अफरा है. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Let's take a closer look at the first sentence. First is the phrase Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum in Urdu is equivalent to hello. Next is mera, meaning my. This is a way to refer to yourself which can be used by both men and women. Next we have naam, meaning name. Then you say your name, and finally we have hai. Hai is attached to the end of the sentence and literally means to exist. In the first sentence, we have the construction mera plus naam plus your name plus hai. The structure of simple Urdu sentences is different from English. In Urdu, the word order is subject, object, verb. The second sentence we have is आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई can be used by both men and women. It means nice to meet you. It is used when meeting someone for the first time. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई. Again, all together it is Assalamu alaikum. मेरा नाम अफरा है. आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई.
हेलो, आपका नाम क्या है?
हेलो, मेरा नाम अली है और आपका नाम क्या है?
मेरा नाम आशा है.
आशा जी, आपका नाम अच्छा है.
आपका शुक्रिया. कमाल जी, आप कैसे हैं?
ओह माहिमा, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ और आप कैसी हैं?
मैं भी अच्छी हूँ. आपका शुक्रिया.
आपका बेटा कैसा है?
वो बहुत अच्छा है. आपका शुक्रिया.
In this lesson, you are going to learn how to use good manners when you thank people. क्या आप तैयार हैं? Are you ready? तो चलिए शुरू करें. So let's begin. Saying thank you in Urdu is very easy. It's just one word. Shukriya. Shukriya. Shukriya means thank you. You can emphasize shukriya by adding बहुत, which means very much. So it becomes बहुत शुक्रिया. बहुत शुक्रिया. Thank you very much. So now you have learned how to say thank you in Urdu. But how will you reply if someone else says thank you to you? In Urdu, you are welcome is sometimes expressed as आपका खैर मुकद्दम है. आपका खैर मुकद्दम है. You can also respond to someone who has thanked you by using another expression. This is कोई बात नहीं, which literally means it's nothing. कोई बात नहीं. कोई बात नहीं. So when someone says shukriya to you, you can simply reply with कोई बात नहीं or आपका खैर मुकद्दम है. Now it's time for Afra's advice. Pakistanis do not always use the expressions for thank you and you are welcome in everyday situations. It is a concept literally translated from English. Native speakers often show politeness simply by using polite pronouns and verb forms while speaking.
आपके पास कितनी बिल्लियाँ हैं?
मेरे पास एक बिल्ली है.
और कितने कुत्ते?
2। मकान नंबर 20 कहाँ है?
वो यहाँ से थोड़ा दूर है।
क्या बस वहाँ जाएगी?
जी हाँ, बराहे मेहरबानी बस नंबर 12 लीजिए।
In this lesson, you will learn some of the most common greetings used in Pakistan. क्या आप तैयार हैं? Are you ready? तो चलिए शुरू करें. So let's begin. Let's start with a greeting you are sure to have heard before. Assalamu alaikum. This is a phrase that is so closely associated with Pakistan and Islamic culture that it has become famous all over the world. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. The phrase Assalamu alaikum is actually Arabic for peace be on you. We use it as a formal as well as a friendly greeting. It's used when people meet at any time of the day, morning, noon, or evening. Use this and you will surely impress your Pakistani friends. In Urdu, using different greetings for each time of the day is not very common. When talking to friends, we usually just use the English phrases, but there are equivalent Urdu versions. They are just not used that often. If you meet someone before noon, you can say Subha bakhair. Subha bakhair. For later in the day, you can say Sham bakhair. Sham bakhair. But most of the time, you can just say Assalamu alaikum and not worry about it. Now let's move on to the expressions we use for saying goodbye in Urdu. A parting expression that we can use for all occasions is phir milenge, which means see you. Phir milenge. Phir milenge. The first word phir means again, and the second word milenge means we will meet. Let's look at one more expression. Alvida. Alvida is an Urdu word which means farewell. Alvida. Alvida. It is an appropriate choice when parting for a long time or forever. Now it's time for Afra's advice. As we learned in this lesson, Assalamu alaikum can be used at any time of the day. But this all-around greeting is not just for saying hello, but for saying goodbye as well. It really is a very useful phrase and you should remember it by heart.
आपकी उम्र क्या है?
मैं 30 साल का हूँ।
आपके कितने बच्चे हैं?
मेरे कोई बच्चे नहीं हैं।
Hi everyone! How are your Urdu listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
एक खातून एक बुक स्टोर पर स्टोर क्लर्क से कुछ मांग रही है। ये खातून कौन सी किताब देखना चाहती है? माफ़ कीजिएगा, मैं इस शेल्फ पर रखी एक किताब देखना चाहती हूँ।
आप कौन सी किताब देखना पसंद करेंगी?
वो जो कारों के बारे में है।
एक मिनट प्लीज़। क्या ये किताब?
जी हाँ, यही किताब।
ये लीजिए।
ये खातून कौन सी किताब देखना चाहती है? एक खातून एक बुक स्टोर पर स्टोर क्लर्क से कुछ मांग रही है। ये खातून कौन सी किताब देखना चाहती है? माफ़ कीजिएगा, मैं इस शेल्फ पर रखी एक किताब देखना चाहती हूँ।
आप कौन सी किताब देखना पसंद करेंगी?
वो जो कारों के बारे में है।
एक मिनट प्लीज़। क्या ये किताब?
जी हाँ, यही किताब।
ये लीजिए।
In this lesson, you are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you are asking it in Urdu, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you are saying. even if their answer is no. Let's start with the formal expression. First though, take note that in Urdu, verbs change depending on the number and gender of the noun. So when asking a man if he speaks English, you would say, क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं? क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं? But to ask a woman if she speaks English, you would say, क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलती हैं? क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलती हैं? Let's have a closer look. First, we have kya, a question marker which comes at the beginning of the sentence. Next is aap. This is the respectful word for you and is used in formal situations. You should always use it with people you don't know or with elders. Next, we have angrezi, which means English. Next is the verb bolte, meaning to speak. It is used when the subject is masculine. We use bolti when the subject is feminine. And finally, we have hain. Hain is a sentence-ending particle used with aap. Once more, when asking a man, it's क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं? And when asking a woman, क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलती हैं? Now let's make this sentence informal. First, we need to use the informal version of you, which is tum. If we change the word for you, we will also change the sentence ending particle to ho. Everything else stays the same. When speaking to younger people, it's acceptable to use this informal form, in which case you will say, क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलते हो? To ask a young man or a boy, क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलते हो? And when you're asking a young woman or a girl, you will say, क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलती हो? क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलती हो? The responses you will receive could be one of these three. हाँ, yes, हाँ, थोड़ी बहुत, a little, थोड़ी, बहुत, नहीं, no, I don't, नहीं. Now let's review one more time. To ask a man in a formal situation if he speaks English, we would say, क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलते हैं? And to ask a woman in a formal situation, we would say, क्या आप अंग्रेजी बोलती हैं? To ask a man in an informal situation, we would say, क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलते हो? And to ask a woman in an informal situation, we would say, क्या तुम अंग्रेजी बोलती हो? Now it's time for Afra's advice. Pakistan was once for a long time part of the British Empire, and so today English is one of the official languages of Pakistan. When visiting tourist areas, you are sure to meet many people who can communicate with you in English. Still, a large part of the population cannot understand English, and you can never go wrong knowing the local language.
एक रेस्टोरेंट में एक मर्द और एक खातून मेन्यू देख रहे हैं। मर्द क्या ऑर्डर करने जा रहा है?
आप क्या ऑर्डर करेंगी?
लगता है पिज़्ज़ा जायकेदार होगा। मेरा ख्याल है मैं वही लूँगी।
मैंने कल ही पिज़्ज़ा खाया है, इसलिए।
ठीक है, तो फिर हैमबर्गर के बारे में क्या ख्याल है?
बेहतर है, मैं वो ही लूँगा।
मर्द क्या ऑर्डर करने जा रहा है? एक रेस्टोरेंट में एक मर्द और एक खातून मेन्यू देख रहे हैं। मर्द क्या ऑर्डर करने जा रहा है?
आप क्या ऑर्डर करेंगी?
लगता है पिज़्ज़ा जायकेदार होगा। मेरा ख्याल है मैं वही लूँगी।
मैंने कल ही पिज़्ज़ा खाया है, इसलिए।
ठीक है, तो फिर हैमबर्गर के बारे में क्या ख्याल है?
बेहतर है, मैं वो ही लूँगा।
एक मर्द डॉक्टर के दफ्तर फ़ोन कर रहा है। उसे किस वक्त तक डॉक्टर के दफ्तर पहुंच जाना चाहिए? हेलो, मैं आपकी क्या मदद कर सकती हूँ?
आज किस वक्त आपका दफ्तर बंद होगा?
हम 6 बजे बंद करेंगे, लेकिन बराहे करम 5:30 बजे से कबल आ जाएं।
ठीक है, शुक्रिया।
उसे किस वक्त तक डॉक्टर के दफ्तर पहुंच जाना चाहिए? एक मर्द डॉक्टर के दफ्तर फ़ोन कर रहा है। उसे किस वक्त तक डॉक्टर के दफ्तर पहुंच जाना चाहिए? हेलो, मैं आपकी क्या मदद कर सकती हूँ?
आज किस वक्त आपका दफ्तर बंद होगा?
हम 6 बजे बंद करेंगे, लेकिन बराहे करम 5:30 बजे से कबल आ जाएं।
ठीक है, शुक्रिया।
In this lesson, you are going to learn how to apologize in Urdu. There are a number of ways to apologize, but in a formal situation, you should use Maf kijiye. Maaf kijiye. The first word maaf literally means forgive, and kijiye is a polite form of the verb meaning please do. So this expression actually means something like forgive me please. Now let's hear it again. Maaf kijiye. Maaf kijiye is used in formal situations when you are communicating with someone you have met for the first time, with elders, and usually also when communicating with women. It is not used among friends or people who are informal with each other. The informal way to say I am sorry is Maf Karo. Maf Karo. Let's review. Maaf kijiye is the formal way to say I'm sorry or excuse me. Maaf karo is the informal way to say I'm sorry or excuse me. These are all versatile phrases with a few different meanings, depending on the situation. Whether you are trying to get someone's attention for a question or making your way through a crowded area, or apologizing for stepping on someone's foot, these are all phrases you could use. Now imagine someone says maaf kijiye to you after having done something wrong. How would you respond? In this case, the proper phrase is koi baat nahi. Koi baat nahi. This means something like it doesn't matter. Koi baat nahi. You might remember this phrase from lesson 2. It is the same phrase you can use when responding to someone thanking you. Now it's time for Afra's advice. If someone bumps into you on the streets in Pakistan, don't expect an excuse me, especially in the big cities. Pakistanis are usually very friendly people, but just don't consider excusing themselves for bumping into someone as time well spent. Big crowds are very common in big cities. Unless someone pushes you over so hard you fell on the ground, keep walking.
एक लड़का अपनी जर्नल से पढ़ रहा है। आज के दिन लड़के ने सबसे पहला काम क्या किया?
आज मौसम बड़ा सुहाना था। मैं दोपहर में पूल पर स्विमिंग के लिए गया और शाम को मैं एक फिल्म देखने गया। मैंने भी सुबह भर पढ़ाई की। आज का दिन बुरा नहीं रहा।
आज के दिन लड़के ने सबसे पहला काम क्या किया? एक लड़का अपनी जर्नल से पढ़ रहा है। आज के दिन लड़के ने सबसे पहला काम क्या किया?
आज मौसम बड़ा सुहाना था। मैं दोपहर में पूल पर स्विमिंग के लिए गया और शाम को मैं एक फिल्म देखने गया। मैंने भी सुबह भर पढ़ाई की। आज का दिन बुरा नहीं रहा।
एक मर्द और एक खातून एक तस्वीर देख रहे हैं। वो कौन सी तस्वीर देख रहे हैं? क्या ये इस फुटबॉल टीम की तस्वीर नहीं है जिसमें आपका बेटा भी है? आपका बेटा कौन सा है?
ये है।
ओहो, वो सबसे लंबा है।
जी हाँ, वो तो मुझसे भी लंबा है।
वो कौन सी तस्वीर देख रहे हैं? एक मर्द और एक खातून एक तस्वीर देख रहे हैं। वो कौन सी तस्वीर देख रहे हैं? क्या ये इस फुटबॉल टीम की तस्वीर नहीं है जिसमें आपका बेटा भी है? आपका बेटा कौन सा है?
ये है।
ओहो, वो सबसे लंबा है।
जी हाँ, वो तो मुझसे भी लंबा है।
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to another lesson with us at Urdu Top Words. And our today's lesson is how to respond, how are you? By the way, I'm good. Okay, let's get started. आप कैसे हैं? आप कैसी हैं? How are you? आप कैसे हैं? आप कैसी हैं? How are you? It's a pretty simple question and you can use it in an informal situation, also in a formal situation. और आप and you. और आप and you. So basically this question is an answer but asking a question. So you know what I mean? So if one person asks you, how are you? And then it's your turn to ask. So you just say, and you. So, और आप. आपका शुक्रिया. Thank you. आपका शुक्रिया. Thank you. Now, I would say आपका शुक्रिया in a more formal situation. And in an informal situation, I would just say shukriya. No need to use the word aap or tum, or no need to use any kind of helping verbs like ka or ki. Just shukriya. Thank you. So, there you go. मैं ठीक हूँ. I'm fine. मैं ठीक हूँ. I'm fine. This expression or this phrase you can use in both formal and informal situations. It's a pretty simple expression. I'm fine. मैं ठीक हूँ. And also, this expression does not have any kind of hierarchy attached to it. What I mean is that if you're talking to an elder person or you're talking to a younger person, you'll reply both of them the same way. I'm fine. मैं ठीक हूँ. मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ. मैं बुरी नहीं हूँ. I'm not bad. मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ. मैं बुरी नहीं हूँ. I'm not bad. Actually, this phrase has, interestingly, two meanings. One is, I'm not bad, as in, how am I? But I'm not bad, like, I'm not a bad person. And in Urdu, we have the same phrase. मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ. I'm not a bad person. मैं बुरा नहीं हूँ. I'm not doing bad. So it's more of a translation thing. But in Urdu, you have the same sentence, but the expression on your face is different when you're conveying that expression. I hope you understand it. It's not that confusing. मैं भी ठीक हूँ. I'm fine too. मैं भी ठीक हूँ. I'm fine too. So again, it's kind of an answer to a person already asking you a question or inquiring about your health, and it's just merely a answer to that one. It's pretty simple. I'm fine. I'm fine too. मैं ठीक हूँ. मैं भी ठीक हूँ. मुझे नींद आ रही है. I'm sleepy. मुझे नींद आ रही है. I'm sleepy. I think it's good to know this one. Sometimes you're bored and you just want to be removed out of the spot, so you just say मुझे नींद आ रही है. And again, there is no hierarchy attached to this specific phrase. You can just use it in any kind of situation. But yeah, try to keep your expressions polite. मुझे नींद आ रही है. I'm sleepy. Rather than saying मुझे नींद आ रही है. I'm sleepy. So the expression actually makes a hell lot of a difference when you are having a conversation in the Urdu language. मुझे बुरा महसूस हो रहा है. I'm feeling bad. मुझे बुरा महसूस हो रहा है. I'm feeling bad. Now this expression can be used in any situation in terms of anything, may it be food, your shopping experience, or your personal feeling towards another human being. So you just say, I'm feeling bad. For example, let's say I just had
a bad curry and I say, मुझे बुरा महसूस हो रहा है, I'm feeling bad. You know, kind of like I'm not feeling good, I'm getting sick. But if I say, मुझे बुरा महसूस हो रहा है, for another person, I'm feeling bad. So you just got to practice it more in order to get the hang of using these expressions. And also they are very commonly used, so you just have to do more practice for these. मैं बेहतरीन हूँ, I'm great. मैं बेहतरीन हूँ, I'm great. बेहतरीन is also a word that describes the word better. I'm doing better. But the way you say it actually makes it I'm great. मैं बेहतरीन हूँ, I'm great. पूछने के लिए शुक्रिया. Thank you for asking. पूछने के लिए शुक्रिया. Thank you for asking. It's, I think, more used when we are talking to our elders or but I mean, you can use it for both formal or informal situations. As the translation says, thank you for asking. So it's polite. It's polite to use such phrases.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Urdu Top Words. And today our lesson is top 10 phrases you will need for a date. Okay guys, so before we jump right into the lesson, I would want to talk about a bit about our culture and how is dating in Pakistan. So as you all might already be familiar with that Pakistan is an Islamic country. So I would say that more than 50% of the marriages are arranged marriages. So yeah, you don't get to date a lot when you are in high school or in university. That being said, people do date. I mean, it's something natural and they might not announce it publicly that they are dating, but yes, couples do date. They get to know each other. And if they feel confident enough and with the blessings of their family, they do get to get married too. But yes, you have to be just a bit more careful when you are in your workspace or when you are in your university, and you need to be sure when you are asking someone for a date how to approach that subject rather than just going straight away, yeah, I would like to go on a date with you, you know. This might come as strong or a bit more offensive. You need to have a certain kind of tact to handle these kind of situations. Let's get started. क्या आप मेरे साथ डेट पर चलेंगी? क्या आप मेरे साथ डेट पर चलेंगे? Will you go on a date with me? So a very quick note, if it's a man, चलेंगे. If you're asking a woman, चलेंगी. I would really not suggest you just ask like, would you go on a date with me? Rather, I would say maybe, क्या आप मेरे साथ कॉफी पीने चलेंगी? क्या आप मेरे साथ कॉफी पीने चलेंगे? So I think it's more tactful to approach the subject and receive, you know, the signal from the other person that are they really interested in talking to you with a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. आप इस हफ्ते के आखिर में फारिग हैं? Are you free this weekend? Yes, I think this is quite harmless sentence and a very tactful way of approaching the subject as per to say dating. क्या आप मेरे साथ रात के खाने पर चलेंगी? क्या आप मेरे साथ रात के खाने पर चलेंगे? Will you go for dinner with me? Again, guys, if you want to know more about masculine and feminine nouns and verbs, please do check our videos, which we did only for grammar and the sentence structures. Visit our website and there are a lot of videos about grammar structures, especially for verbs and nouns. आप बहुत हसीन हैं. You are so cute. So we use the word haseen actually for beautiful, and there's one more word for beautiful that is khubsurat. So you can either use haseen or khubsurat, and I translated it as you are cute. So if you want to say someone cute, I think you should say आप cute हैं rather than haseen. हम कहीं और चलें. हम कहीं और चलें. Shall we go somewhere else? Yeah, maybe it's too crowded or noisy. So if you want to change the restaurant, so it's a good sentence to know. मैं आपको phone करूँगा.
मैं आपको फ़ोन करूँगी. I will call you. This is a sentence that you can use anytime actually. May it be your workplace, may it be dating, or may you be just talking with your friends. I'll call you. मैं आपको घर छोड़ दूँगा. मैं आपको घर छोड़ दूँगी. I will drive you home. As I said, we are a pretty secular society, so we don't tend to see this kind of attitude that people go on a date and they are being dropped by their date at home. It's a good sentence to know if you need it, but we don't generally use it. हम कल किस वक्त मिलें? हम कल किस वक्त मिलें? What time shall we meet tomorrow? Pretty obvious. If you're going on a date, you need to be on time, but people don't tend to be on time. That is a general attitude in Pakistan. क्या मैं आपसे दोबारा मिल सकता हूँ? क्या मैं आपसे दोबारा मिल सकती हूँ? Can I see you again? I don't know. I'm busy. Yeah. आपका इस जगह के बारे में क्या ख्याल है? What do you think of this place? Yeah, pretty harmless to ask. What do you think of this place? I like it. It's zazzy.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and this is Afra. Welcome to our series Urdu Top Words. So today our lesson would be top 10 questions that you should know. So let's get started. Aapka naam kya hai? What is your name? So the first question is, Aapka naam kya hai? What is your name? Mera naam Afra hai. My name is Afra. Aap kahan se hain? Where are you from? Aap kahan se hain? Where are you from? मैं लाहौर से हूँ. I'm from Lahore. आपकी सालगिरह कब है? When is your birthday? आपकी सालगिरह कब है? When is your birthday? मेरी सालगिरह नवंबर में है. My birthday is in November. आप कहाँ रहती हैं? Where do you live? आप कहाँ रहती हैं? Where do you live? मैं लाहौर में रहती हूँ. I live in Lahore. So guys, you're going to notice that in a lot of questions, I'm going to be using some words which I'm going to change according to the principles of masculine and feminine nouns and verbs. And if you want to know more about it, please do visit our website. We have a whole other series explaining Urdu nouns and verbs and how the rules of masculine and feminine apply to it. So please try to stay with me on this one. आपका phone number क्या है? What's your phone number? So the next question is, आपका phone number क्या है? What is your phone number? मेरा phone number ये है. My phone number is. So you just have to replace your number with the word ye, and ye literally means this. आपने उर्दू कहाँ से सीखी? Where did you learn Urdu? आपने उर्दू कहाँ से सीखी? Where did you learn Urdu? मैंने उर्दू urdupod101.com से सीखी. I learned Urdu from urdupod101.com, which would be true in your case. Okay. क्या आप पाकिस्तानी खाना पसंद करती हैं? Do you like Pakistani food? क्या आप पाकिस्तानी खाना पसंद करती हैं? So if you're a guy, you would be using करते हैं, but if you're a girl, you'll be using करती हैं. Do you like Pakistani food? जी हाँ, मैं पाकिस्तानी खाना पसंद करता हूँ. Yes, I like Pakistani food. क्या आप पाकिस्तान गए हैं? Have you been to Pakistan? क्या आप पाकिस्तान गई हैं? Have you been to Pakistan? जी हाँ. Yes. आप पाकिस्तान में कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं? Where do you want to go in Pakistan? आप पाकिस्तान में कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं? Where do you want to go in Pakistan? मैं लाहौर जाना चाहती हूँ. I want to go to Lahore. आप पाकिस्तान में कितने दिन के लिए हैं? For how many days are you in Pakistan? आप पाकिस्तान में कितने दिन के लिए हैं? For how many days are you in Pakistan? मैं 5 दिनों के लिए पाकिस्तान में हूँ. I am in Pakistan for 5 days.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to Urdu Top Words. Our today's lesson is 10 Pakistani foods. So let's get started. Halwa puri. Halwa puri. Halwa puri. Halwa puri. Mujhe halwa puri pasand hai. I like halwa puri. Actually, this is one of my favorite ones. We usually eat it in our breakfast and it's very common in Pakistan. You can get it almost in every street. Kadahi. 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 Aapko kadahi pasand hai? Do you like kadahi? I love it. Actually, kadahi is a very traditional food in Pakistan and it's made from meat. You can use chicken meat, beef or mutton, but people in Pakistan actually prefer it in mutton. I love mutton kadahi. Biryani. 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 मैं बिरयानी बनाने में माहिर हूँ. I'm an expert in cooking biryani. Actually, that's not true. My mother is. Biryani is a traditional food that is served in India, Pakistan, and also in Bangladesh. And it's one of the most delicious food that you will ever get to taste. It has so many spices and such a beautiful aroma, and you can actually feel all that aroma on your tongue. It's actually a mixture of rice and chicken curry, and you mix it, but it's much more than that, so you got to taste it for sure for yourself. Korma. 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 आप korma बनाने में माहिर हो? Are you an expert in making korma? Korma is a traditional food of Pakistan and it is a form of curry. So we have mutton, beef or chicken and we make curry with it. But we have a very special ingredient involved in korma and that are nuts. Lots of nuts. And the aroma with the nuts is very strong. So you should really taste it. Pie. 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 Pie नाश्ते में खाए जाते हैं. Pies are taken in breakfast. Pies are, the literal translation is feet of a goat. And don't get scared, but we actually eat them, but not just like we just cut them and eat them. We clean them, and the way of sterilizing the feet of a goat is a very long process in Pakistan. So we burn the skin and we take off all the hair, we boil them so there are no more bacteria or germs in it, and we also cut them in half in order to make sure that they are sterilized properly. And after that, we cook them with special spices for this dish. And the gravy is very sticky and they are really heavy in terms of calories, but everybody loves pies. No matter you are from Punjab or you are from some other province, but you would love it. So it's a must try if you ever visit Pakistan. Kofte. 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 Mujhe kofte pasand hai. I really like kofte. Kofte is actually meatball. So we just have an egg in between and we cover the egg with the meat. And it's really delicious. And when we are serving the food, we usually cut one kofta into 2 pieces. So you can imagine it looks like an eyeball. So in between you can see half of the egg, a boiled egg, and it's covered with lots of meat outside. It's really beautiful. Halim. 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 Halim garam hai. Halim is hot. Trust me, people, you would really want to eat a hot halim because the spices, the aroma, it's just delicious. And I'm a foodie maniac. I love food. And halim is basically a combination of lots of different pulses cooked together with chunk of meat in it, and it's just heaven. Nihari. 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 Lahore ki nihari mashhoor hai. The nihari of Lahore is famous. I totally agree with it 100%. And I'm from Lahore, so take my word for it. Nihari is a curry, a thick gravy that we make from the meat of a goat, but it's taken from the thigh part, specifically from that part. and it's kind of also a bit sticky, and it's not really spicy, and we eat it with naan, always with naan. We never have any other kind of bread with nihari. So you should give it a try. And mostly people in Lahore and Punjab, they want nihari as their breakfast. I know, it sounds weird eating such a heavy dish in the breakfast, but that's how we do it in Pakistan. Zarda, 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 zarda. Zarda शादियों के लिए एक मशहूर dish है. Zarda is a famous course for wedding reception. So basically zarda is sweet rice. So all the rice we make in biryani, they are spicy, but in zarda it's the opposite. They are sweet, and it also has many kind of pistachios and nuts in it. It's served as a dessert, you may call it. Yeah. Matanjan, 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 matanjan. Matanjan rangeen hai. Matanjan is colorful. So zarda and matanjan are like brother and sister. So matanjan is also sweet rice, but it has many colors. The famous colors for matanjan are white, red, pink, and green. And it also has rasgullas in it. And rasgulla is a small white sweet in Pakistan, and they include it in the rice in that when they're serving the dish. So it's really sweet, and it also has nuts in it, and also famous for weddings. So you should definitely give it a try.
When learning a new language, we sometimes have a hard time with things like procrastination, discouragement, or failure. But don't panic. With a good strategy, you'll be able to overcome these difficulties. Are you ready to discover the 4 habits of successful learners? Number 1. Optimize your time. When learning a language, it's important to dedicate time to your studies regularly, even if sometimes it's difficult. You're busy with school, work, family, or friends, but you can spread out your learning throughout the day. Study whenever you have small gaps of time in your busy schedule. This can be when you're on the metro, on your lunch break, or while you're exercising. Our podcast learning format fits perfectly into your tight schedule. Number 2. Consistency with your chosen method. There are a lot of options when it comes to courses and learning materials. Switching from one method to another can confuse you and disrupt your progress. Focusing on one learning method will make a difference. Our method has been created and optimized by real teachers, so you can stick to it with confidence. Number 3. Use your language background. Many languages share some commonalities. You can find words that look or sound similar, or even share the same grammar structure. A little bit of language background will give you an edge while learning. Number 4. Study continuously. People are excited when they start learning a new language. The enthusiasm usually lasts until the first roadblock. This can lead to discouragement and procrastination. But don't burn yourself out. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't try to learn it all at once. Break things down into more digestible chunks. Learning step by step might feel slow, but it's an efficient way to learn a language. With patience, motivation, and good resources, you'll master the language. Remember, you can't learn a language overnight, but with motivation and these daily lessons, you'll be on the road to fluency. Give it a try now. Sign up for your account. Just click the link in the description. When learning a new language, everyone should have an ultimate goal to work towards. Whether you want to be able to connect with a relative, easily order food while traveling, or go somewhere new, having an end goal for your learning can be very motivating. A popular but challenging goal is being able to speak like a native speaker. It's difficult to measure exactly when you reach this goal, and it's not something you can pick up using textbooks alone. So how do you work on making your speech more natural? That's what we're going to look at today. Here are 3 tips to help you practice talking like a native speaker. Number 1. Focus on vocabulary. If your goal is to speak like a native, you might be really focused on speaking quickly or using as many complex grammar patterns as possible. But in our native languages, we're not always trying to speak as fast as possible, and we use complex grammar patterns when necessary, not to show off. Vocabulary, however, is extremely important to expressing ourselves naturally. Your choice of words can reveal a lot about you and your understanding of the language. Most learners have had the experience of using a phrasebook or a dictionary to find a word they want to use, trying the word in conversation, and getting a look of confusion from the native speaker. In some cases, although your word choice may be grammatically correct, the word may be inappropriate for the situation or totally unnatural. This is especially important in business and other formal situations, where the right level of formality and professionalism is key. Being able to understand nuances in vocabulary words can also help you understand relationships between people just by listening to the conversation. Try to listen to many different types of conversations. Listen to how people talk to their friends, their superiors, and in customer service situations. This will give you a better idea of how to talk to others naturally. In some languages, you can omit words from sentences or use more direct communication styles. It's important to be aware of these things so you can apply them yourself. Colloquialisms and slang are also commonly used in most languages. As this sort of vocabulary is always evolving, it can be difficult to keep up with the latest words. Talk with native speakers and consume media in your target language to make sure you pick up these kinds of expressions. Media is a great resource for your learning. Ultimately, knowing the appropriate vocabulary to use for each situation will really help you sound more knowledgeable. Number 2, perfect your accent. With every language, there are unique pronunciation and intonation challenges. Some languages are tonal languages, and a change in pitch can completely change the meaning of a word. Then there's the fact that most countries have multiple dialects, and so people from one area of the country may sound different from those in another. So what is the best way to listen to a wide range of accents and different pronunciations? Video and audio resources are a great way to do this. YouTube is a perfect place to start because people from all kinds of different backgrounds upload videos to the platform. You can watch educational videos, daily life vlogs, cooking shows, a travel series, whatever interests you. Pay attention to the different ways people speak. Everyone is unique. And then practice speaking like them. This kind of practice can help you sound more natural. One note, please be aware of the type of resources you're using. For example, if you find a video where a speaker uses a rare dialect, it might not be a good idea to use that for your pronunciation practice, unless you have a special reason for studying a specific accent. As a general rule, it's best to try to search for practice resources that use a standard form of the language you're studying. Number 3, copy what you hear. Do you remember how you learned to speak as a child? We rarely learned new words just listening to them, or reading after we learned how. When we were little kids, we imitated the sounds we heard by repeating the sounds out loud. While you're talking to a friend, watching videos, or listening to audio in your target language, you can do this to try and replicate the way they speak. Doing this will help you work on mastering the flow of the language, your accent, intonation, and pronunciation. Of course, you might also pick up some new vocabulary this way. Make sure to repeat new words often. It's a great way to make sure you remember them. Try doing this using a number of different mediums and sources. That way, you'll be exposed to the diversity that the language offers and master the fundamentals of pronunciation. For example, you can watch and imitate several different YouTube videos and audio CDs, but try a few different sources, like different creators or different audio types, to make sure you experience a wide range of communication in your target language. If you're using our language learning program, you can even get your own teacher with Premium Plus. Your teacher can answer questions, give assignments, and even listen to your recordings and give you advice on pronunciation. Completing these kinds of lessons with a native teacher can really boost your confidence in your speaking skills. Becoming able to speak like a native is a popular goal for many people learning a new language. It feels great to be able to communicate smoothly, especially when the people you're talking to expect basic level sentences or broken communication. Try using the tips we've shared in this video to work on improving your speaking skills. Of course, it'll take time and persistence, but the reward will be more natural communication. And for even more tips on speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to know how to improve your listening and speaking skills, be able to save conversations, listen to them as many times as you want, and learn hundreds of practical everyday conversations? Well, there is an easy way to do this. In this video, we'll go over how to speak more using the dialogue track. So, what is the dialogue track? The dialogue track is an audio track with just the conversation from the lesson. It's only about 10 to 30 seconds long. Let's say you're looking at a 5-minute lesson about ordering food at a restaurant. First, you hear a conversation. Then our teachers explain every grammar rule and translate every word, so you know what it all means. That's where the dialogue track comes in. It gives you just the conversation. Here's what makes the dialogue track so powerful. First, you can quickly review the conversation without re-listening to the lesson. The dialogue track is just 10 to 30 seconds long, so it won't take you very long to cover both new and old information. This makes it perfect for a quick review of what you've just learned, and it helps keep it fresh in your brain. Second, you'll remember the conversations easier. Listen on repeat, like you would with a song, and the words, phrases, and grammar rules will stick better. And the more you come back to re-listen, the better it will all stick. Third, you'll speak more of your target language. So if you have 10, 20, or 100 dialogue tracks like that, then you have 10, 20, or 100 conversations that you'll know inside out and that you can use in real life. For example, conversations like catching up with friends, ordering at a restaurant, talking about your family, introducing yourself, and much, much more. Fourth, you improve your listening skills and can immerse yourself in the language. So imagine you've finished 20 lessons and you've downloaded 20 dialogue tracks to your phone. That's 20 conversations. You can create a playlist and play those 20 tracks and get used to the language and immerse yourself. To recap what we just learned, here's what you do to make the most of the dialogue tracks. First, after you finish a lesson, download the dialogue track. Save it to your computer or phone so you can listen to it on repeat whenever possible. Just replace 3 to 15 minutes of music listening for some language review. Next, if you've finished 20 lessons, you should have 20 dialogue tracks. Use those to create a playlist of these dialogue tracks so that you can listen to all kinds of conversations. And finally, try shadowing the conversations that you hear. This will become super easy once you've heard the conversation enough times. But if you're still struggling with a word or two, go back to the lesson and check the line-by-line breakdown of the conversation to find the words you need to practice. Boost your speaking skills with the dialogue track and check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speak your target language with confidence and impress native speakers? When learning to speak a new language, you have lots of things to think about, including grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Because you're thinking of all of these things and trying to speak, it can be difficult to communicate with confidence, especially in the beginning. This is why it's helpful to make confidence-building exercises part of your language learning process. In this video, you'll learn 7 ways to boost your confidence. 1. Read out loud. This might seem pretty basic, but it's a great way to practice speaking. Reading aloud lets you practice speaking without having to think about grammar or things to talk about. Reading out loud lets you focus on your pronunciation and the rhythm of the language. It can help you learn to speak more smoothly and quickly, without even thinking about it. If you're using our lessons, read the dialogue out loud as you listen. You can read along with the dialogue tool, the lesson notes, or the transcript. 2. Read like a child. This might sound strange, but think about children learning to read. They go slow and sound everything out. Maybe it takes 2 or 3 tries before they read a new word smoothly, and a few more tries before they can read it at a natural pace. This example applies to language learning too. If you find a complex sentence in something you're reading, read it slowly at first, then speed up. With practice, you'll be able to say it easily. It might feel a bit silly to speak very slowly, but this kind of practice can help you identify tough sounds you might miss or say incorrectly when reading quickly. 3. Use the dialogue breakdown tool. If you're using our site, this is a great tool to take advantage of. It breaks down lesson conversations into individual lines. You can listen to the audio for each line, learn what each line means, and can reread and review as much as you want. 4. Use the voice recorder to record and compare yourself with native speakers. Just click on the microphone icon next to each line in the dialogue section. You can use this tool to perfect your pronunciation if you like, but this is also something you can use to work on speaking with confidence at native level speed. You'll find this tool in the dialogue section of all of our lessons. 5. Repeat and review old lesson conversations. Reviewing what you've studied in the past is the best way to make sure you maintain what you've learned. Go back to older lessons, download the lesson dialogue tracks, and re-listen to the conversations again and again. Or you can reread the dialogue lines from previous lessons until you've mastered them all. 6. Shadow conversations. Repeat what you hear out loud. This tactic is important, but it can be tricky when you're doing a brand new lesson. If you're reviewing dialogues from lessons you've done though, it's super easy to do. Just listen to the dialogue and repeat what you hear. Shadowing means mimicking the speaker as soon as they speak, following their intonation and rhythms as closely as possible. 7. Send recordings to your Premium Plus teacher. If you want to speak with confidence, there's no better confidence boost than feedback from a native speaker, and you get just that with a Premium Plus teacher. You can record yourself reciting a lesson dialogue or any dialogue of your own, and your teacher will give you specific tips on how to improve. From the tips your teacher gives you, choose at least one and practice, practice, practice. Being able to react quickly and with confidence in a conversation is typically not something you can do on your first try, but if you continue practicing, you'll gradually find yourself speaking with ease. And for even more ways to build your speaking confidence, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! When you start out learning a foreign language, everything is exciting. You pick up new words and basic phrases fairly quickly. The first time you say a greeting or answer the question, "How are you?" you might even get a little thrilled. Speaking fluently doesn't feel that far off, and at this point, it really does seem like language learning isn't all that difficult. But after a week or two, things begin to change. After a few weeks of study, you start to hit walls as you're faced with strange grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Everything about learning a new language seemed promising and hopeful before, but now you start to realize how difficult it's going to be. Speaking the language now feels like a long, far-off goal that you may or may not achieve one day. But don't let the innocence of being an absolute beginner or the disillusionment of being an experienced learner discourage you from learning. Speaking a new language may not be as far off as you thought. In this video, we'll look at 3 tips to help you practice your speaking skills, no matter what level you're at. Number 1, practice with native speakers. Practicing with native speakers is by far one of the most effective things you can do to improve your speaking abilities. Think of speaking a foreign language as riding a bike. After a certain point, you can't read or theorize about how to do it. You have to actually do it. If you can practice speaking with native speakers who correct you and give good feedback, then you'll be well on your way to improving your speaking. But where can you find native speakers to practice with? If you live in or near a major city, there's a good chance there are some native speakers there. You might even get lucky and discover an entire community. Do a little research into the demographics of your city, or simply keep your eyes open the next time you go through town. You can also attend a language exchange or cultural event. Meetup is a site for local enthusiast groups, and there are usually some language-speaking clubs or cultural clubs there. If you're unable to find native speakers where you live, then jump online and find them there. There are a lot of free online exchanges that allow you to connect with other language learners from all over the globe via text, audio, or video chat. Look for a speaker who is learning your native language. You can spend an hour or so helping each other in your respective target languages. This is a highly practical and helpful way to learn. It's also a great way to learn more directly about the culture you're studying in a real way. Number 2, devote some time to learning pronunciation. Pronunciation often isn't the first skill people think of working on when learning a foreign language, but that doesn't mean that it isn't important. Truth be told, you don't absolutely need a great accent to speak or understand every language. However, a decent accent can vastly improve your listening and speaking abilities in ways you might not expect. Being able to pronounce words and sounds makes it a lot easier for you to remember and understand new words simply by hearing them. If you can physically make a sound with your mouth, then you can mentally remember it. Once you have a good accent, the new language won't sound as foreign as it once did, and you'll be able to understand rapid speech, as well as pick up the definition of new words based on their conversational context. But how can you improve your accent? If you're serious about developing your accent, then you'll want to dissect the language's sound system into its individual parts. First by letters, then individual words, followed by whole phrases. Start doing some mild research on the phonetics of your target language. You don't have to get too technical here. Just try to get an idea of some of the main differences between it and your native language. Find out where native speakers usually put their tongue while saying certain sounds. Or pay attention to the shape of their mouths when they speak. Is it open or closed? These subtle differences are what really help you improve. Once you get the letters down, start listening to native audio and compare your pronunciation to the native speakers. Our language learning program's playback feature is a great way to accomplish this. Take a phrase from a lesson and start by practicing the individual words, playing the audio back at a slower speed and then again at a regular speed. After comparing your speech to the audio, combine the words to make complete phrases, imitating the intonation of the native speakers. This precise method of pronunciation practice is one of the most efficient and effective ways to learn pronunciation. Number 3, imitate, don't just repeat. Anytime you speak, do your best to imitate the native speakers you've heard and practice with. Match the way their intonation rises and falls. Pay attention to their word order. It's even a good idea to match some of their body language. This degree of imitation will probably feel weird at first, but it reinforces fluency in the language and breaks you out of the parrot trap, where you simply learn and speak through rote memorization or repetition. This is a common problem that's often cited with other less effective language learning methods. Speaking a language is like playing music or dancing. You don't want to just know it. You want to live in the moment and feel it as you use it. You don't sit and think of what you're going to say in your native language before you say it. Why would you expect to do the same in a new one? Don't let ruffled expectations make you think that speaking a new language is impossible. Yes, it's difficult, but it probably isn't as difficult as you think it is. With a little determination and some faithful practice, you might be surprised how quick and how far you can progress. Use these tips to better practice the language and see real results in your speaking abilities. And for even more ways to practice your speaking, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.